Match of the season 1979-80. Halifax Town 1, Manchester City 0. The FA Cup third round, 5th of January 1980. Halifax Town's most famous victory, those who witnessed it would probably not disagree. Having finally seen off Walsall in the second round, the Shaymen now earned the right to play host to First Division Manchester City. The match was all ticket with the crowd limit set at 16,500. Yorkshire TV were there to film it, which meant that the game kicked off at 2 p.m. on account of the Shay's modest floodlights. Inevitably, the TV people were keeping their fingers crossed for an upset. They were not to be disappointed. Whether the game should or should not have gone ahead is a matter of debate. If the cup itself was not already a leveller, then the boggy Shay pitch following the thawing of a week's frost made it even more so, and doubtless favoured the Shaymen. But after an early morning inspection, referee Michael Lowe was happy to give the game the nod, whereupon City's general manager Tony Buck rushed back to report to the rest of the party staying at the Ainley Hilton Hotel Elland just what to expect. Manchester City were already beginning to lose their way. Championship runners-up to Liverpool in 1977. They had since reappointed Malcolm Allison as their team manager. He had been coach to Joe Mercer when the club enjoyed its golden period in the late 60s and early 70s, and he had started to dismantle the squad. Allison replaced stars Asa Hartford, Dave Watson and Mick Channon with youngsters Tommy Catton, Dave Bennett and Nick Reed, and also splashed lavishly. Teenager Mick Robinson had cost £750,000 from Preston, while Steve Daly, who cost a staggering £1,155,000. Allison would later claim that it was Chairman Peter Swales who did the deal while he was away. He became Britain's then costliest player when signed from Wolves. Altogether, the City side that Allison put out that day cost over £3 million. George Kirby's side a mere £61,000. The part that TV hypnotist Romark played in Town's win has, somewhat unjustly, been overstated. True, George Kirby twice had him talk to all the Town players except one. The Town boss reckoned John Kilner was so good he didn't need any help. But it was Halifax's keeper who turned out to be the game's shining light. He made 2 first-half saves from Bobby Shinton's snapshot and from a vicious volley by Mick Robinson. Then, in the 65th minute, he somehow blocked Shinton's scoot effort from 5 yards out. Not that City had it all their own way. England international goalkeeper Joe Corrigan had to be alert to palm Andy Stafford's corner onto the bar. Then right on half-time, the City keeper did well to keep out a stinging drive from Town skipper Dave Evans. Paul Hendry too had Corrigan worried twice early on, and the Town midfielder must have thought he had blown his chance. In the end, though, he would not be denied. With 15 minutes remaining, a throw-in out on the left ended with Stafford sending over a low cross to John Smith. He played the ball first time for Hendry, who manoeuvred himself goal side of the defence and swept a low shot past Corrigan into the right-hand corner. It was a gem of a goal. Kirby would later put it in the Kevin Keegan mould, and for Hendry himself it propelled him into the national spotlight as well as into Halifax folklore. The closing minutes were nerve-wracking for the Shay fans, but Town hung on for the shock of that season's FA Cup. By kicking off early, Halifax booked their place in the 4th round while other teams were still playing. They bowed out of the cup at Bolton, but their moment of glory could not be denied. For Malcolm Allison, however, further misery awaited. Though he saw out the season, he would be sacked the following October, branded a failure. His successor, John Bond, would have fleeting success, however, taking the side to Wembley for the 1981 final.